The world has never seen what is about to unfold. A health catastrophe of unimaginable proportions, which is about to happen. I don't think the medical establishment sees it. Well, of course they don't see it. There's a lot of things they don't see. I don't think governments see it around the world. In countries like the United States and United Kingdom, where metabolic health has fallen off a cliff, especially over the last 10 years. It was already heading in the wrong direction, but something very weird has happened, particularly since the pandemic. Look around you and you see this. Soaring rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, other diseases going through the roof. But there's one aspect of this that I want to focus on as a doctor, as a very observant person, and somebody who travels a lot as well. I go back and forth between the United States and United Kingdom. And I can tell you, looking around, particularly at school children, when I'm driving past schools, when I'm out and about, and I look at the sheer number of overweight and obese youngsters. I'm talking about under the age of 16. I believe that our authorities are undercounting this, and something really bad has happened. Now, official statistics are suggesting that 1/3 to a half of all adolescents now have pre-diabetes. Think about that. It was only a fraction of that 20 to 30 years ago. And actually, I think if they actually measured insulin resistance in the correct way, they did a HOMA-IR blood test based on a fasting insulin instead of HbA1c, they would find that this is even worse. And that's why I say that this is much more of a cultural issue than an issue with food corporations, which have been terrible for a long time. Because the UK has much more strict standards than the US, but go to the UK and you will see exactly the same thing happening, because culturally, countries which are of a similar culture like Canada, US, UK, Ireland, Australia, the same thing is happening. But go to France, Italy, and Japan, the same thing is not happening. So what on earth can we do to stop this? Well, I don't claim to have all the answers, but the fact that so many young people now are going to be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in their 20s and 30s. People have no idea what a catastrophe this is for entire nations and how potentially they could bring entire nations down. People with type 2 diabetes get very sick indeed. It's a myth that medications can artificially lower the blood sugar, or worse still, eventually give people more insulin when they're insulin resistant to make them basically have lower blood sugar. But insulin, unfortunately, is a fat storage hormone, so people get stuck in a vicious circle. I've talked about that before as well. But what a tragedy is going on right now. The world has never seen anything like this. I mean, when we're talking about tens of millions of people, children who are 8, 9, 10 years old, in their early teens, being significantly overweight, having insulin resistance, and then almost certainly going to get type 2 diabetes by their mid-20s. Think about what's going to happen in 10 years' time. Who is to blame when we have such a rotten culture? Is it the parents? I mean, parents, obviously, if they lose control, their kids are likely to lose control. But I leave you with a thought here. Even when smoking was going on, a lot of people knew that smoking was bad before government started pushing people to stop smoking. But never were cigarettes given to young children. But yet right now we're at this strange situation where children are being loaded up with sugar, processed foods, taken to buffets. There's no emphasis on getting these kids active. And worse still, we have a ghoulish medical establishment that thinks that the answer is to inject children to paralyze their stomachs. I mean, how have we gone so badly wrong? What is going on here? But all you have to do, if you're even slightly observant, is step outside in countries like the USA and UK and look at what's going on with kids and compare that to when you were young, when it was very rare to have an overweight or obese youngster. But that youngster is going to be behind for life, probably, if their fatty tissue has proliferated, if they've developed fatty liver disease. Again, this has never happened before. I'm speechless when I think about it. And again, I don't know how more doctors don't wake up in a cold sweat, because if you have excessive fat tissue, that goes with insulin resistance, inflammation, and will dramatically increase the risk of many, many other illnesses as well. But this is going on with tens of millions of youngsters. So I don't have all the answers. I don't know how the government reverses a rotten culture where everything is overconsumed I mean, there's no notion like there was a couple of decades ago that, oh, don't eat that dessert. You better not do this because you're going to be out of shape. I mean, now everything goes. Eat as much as you want, lie on the sofa, looking at your screen, don't be active. And parents are doing this as well as children. It is a really bizarre situation. Maybe if humanity gets out of this at some point, future generations will look back and think, what on earth happened? But even then, I am very concerned because these children are going to grow up and eventually they're going to start families, but they're already going to be sick on tons of medications and with loads of inflammation going on in them. This is truly unprecedented. Let me know your thoughts down below about what I've said. We're witnessing something that's never happened before, but the younger generation getting so sick. And in the United States, we might have an administration now that is kind of talking about this, but thinks that the answer is to work with food corporations. Well, back in the 70s and 80s, was the answer to work with cigarette companies to make healthier cigarettes? No, there was a massive push to say, you need to stop smoking and we need to do the same thing. You simply cannot eat too much. Yes, you should eat real food, but you have to cut back on the calories consumed. You have to start moving more. This is basic stuff that everybody knew until the world went completely mad, led by the mainstream media, which is utterly nuts, and also by the medical establishment, which has completely lost its way. I mean, how on earth could large segments of the medical establishment think that the answer is to inject more children with a weekly injection to paralyze their stomach, which comes with a ton of side effects? That's all I've got to say about that. Really sad situation. It pains me as a doctor who wants people to be well, adults and children. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Check the links in the description down below for my website, all the other work I do, and my free newsletter. If you're not already signed up for that, please do so. Also, our natural health and well-being store, ohighwellness.com if you're in the USA, North America, ohighwellness.co if you're in the UK, Europe. Hit the like button if you like this video, the subscribe button for more similar videos in the future. That really helps with the algorithm and getting these videos shared as widely as possible. We will speak again very soon.